It is time for the Berkshire Edge on air. Of course, you can find the Berkshire Edge at theberkshireedge.com, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, updating stories, information, events, community calendar, and more. And we welcome both of them in here on a Wednesday morning. Good morning to our friends at the Berkshire Edge, David and Marcy.
Good morning, Marshall.
Well, good morning.
And everybody out there in Radio Land.
That's Radio Land. That's radio and Internet Land. There we go.
Oh, Radio and Internet Land.
Right.
Forgot. I must throw back to another era.
That's exactly right. All right. Well, I like the first story that we're going to talk about. And we all know brownfield sites, and we know where they're located. Great Barrington right now really is in the process of figuring out. They don't have one, they don't have two, but they've got three.
Right.
Yes, we do, and they are three downtown in Great Barrington.
Right.
So, and the town is trying to figure out what to do with them. But for those of you who know Great Barrington, well, actually, one is in Houstonic.
Right. Which is Great Barrington.
Which is Great Barrington. Yeah. And it's part of, it was part of a mill complex in Great Barrington. But the other two are in downtown Great Barrington. One is the former dry cleaners, which is right next door to the post office in downtown Great Barrington. And there's another one that they are calling somebody's Variety. What is it? I forget the name. But it is, people probably remember it. It's just near the first traffic light across the street from the CVS and next to Searles Castle. And it was a place called the Deli 20 years ago, and then it's been a couple of other restaurants, and it's Berkshire Community College is right next door to it. So that also is, and it's been empty for 10 years. 20 years ago there was a restaurant called the Deli, and that closed, and then a Chinese restaurant opened, and then something else opened, and now, but, in the last 10 years it's been closed. So it's called Carpenter's Variety because it was a gas station and a variety store at one point.
But these are all sites that have, were leaking, hazardous chemicals into the groundwater,
right?
And they've been closed, but the residual pollution from their operations still exists.
Right.
The dry cleaners is at Reed Cleaners, which is right on Main Street.
Right downtown.
And right across from the library.
Right, and right next door to the post office.
Right, and the contamination was polluting the basement of the library and the basement of the post office. And it travels in these underground seams, and it then eventually, of course, it makes its way into the river. So these are good things to clean up, but it's really it takes a major effort to do so.
Well, and two of them are owned by the town, the Reed Cleaners building and the I think is in the Reed Cleaners building and the place, the Cook's Garage in Houstonic are owned by the town
now.
And the former Carpenter's Variety is apparently undergoing foreclosure, so it's likely that it will soon be owned by the town. So the town can clean it up, but the town can also pay for it.
It's not an inexpensive. Inexpensive proposition.
Well, I think this is a common problem.
Yeah.
That's what's interesting about this. This is a problem throughout, New England and other communities that have had these old businesses that are, just dormant now, and are contaminating the water, the water and the river and the community. So
The
But, we have actually, in our story, we have a videotape of the whole meeting in which it was discussed and people asked questions. So it's a very interesting tape because it talks about the details of how this pollution, where it is and how it got there, and what are the steps to remediate it. So for anyone who's interested in what this process is, we have the detail of the experts explaining to the attendees. And it was a Zoom meeting, so it's all there online on the Berkshire Edge, and I found it very interesting to watch.
All right, let's move on to a happier note, as you say in the note to me, and that is Volunteers in Medicine. They're creating summer activities for immigrant children.
Yeah.
Yeah, Volunteers in Medicine is a wonderful outfit, and it's doctors and nurses who are taking what they're doing is they're taking. They're making life a little easier for the and happier for children of immigrant families, and they're have developed a summer program for them, and they're a wonderful outfit, by the way.
Yeah, they provide Volunteers in Medicine. They provide free medical help to people who can't afford it.
Right.
But now they
including immigrants.
Yes.
And they don't ask questions either.
Yeah.
About immigration status. They are, they're just doctors.
Right. And dentists. And social workers. So.
Right.
Well, whenever I think...
But they discovered that, especially during the pandemic, I mean, there were so many immigrant families with children where they had no resources to do when the children were out of school for the summer. There was nothing for them to do. They were stuck at home. Their parents couldn't, the parents are often working because, they have the jobs that were being required during the pandemic. And so they found that the children are home, or the parents weren't able to work because they had to stay home with their children. I mean, it's not unlike a lot of other people, but they felt that the immigrant families were, really in greater distress because they don't have any resources, and often they don't have the language. So they have a program where they're sending the kids to camp.
Well, a variety of camps and a variety of organizations, and
day camps.
Yeah, day camps, and they were working with 11 private camps, including the Berkshire Botanical Garden and Berkshire South, and the Country Academy, and it was a wonderful program. It goes on every summer.
Yeah, well, this is, I think, the second summer.
Yeah.
So we're very lucky to have these kinds of organizations here.
It reminds me of a local version of Doctors Without Borders. I mean,
yes, it is. That's right. Maybe that was the inspiration.
Yeah,
they have a wonderful program, and they have a clinic.
Yeah, I just think it's just great.
It's not just for immigrants. Yeah. I mean, I went to a fundraiser of theirs a few years ago, and there was a non-immigrant person who had just fallen on hard times. She had no health insurance, and she had she had barely a job. She was a local person born and raised in Great Barrington, and she needed medical help, and they gave it to her. And she was an articulate, educated woman who just had no money.
Volunteers in Medicine, just a great organization. Now,
it is.
I was talking about this earlier this morning. We here in our region have, of course, tonight the final Sharon concert. Tomorrow night we have Gear having a concert. We have a concert, of course, at the VFW. Then this weekend, the Hotchkiss Library is opening up, and they're going to have the ceremony to start the reconstruction of that. We have the On the Green Arts and Crafts Festival, and I look at your next story, and it's coming back to normal. It's still a pandemic, but the theaters, people now are going out and doing things.
Yes. and we're of course hoping that we're not going to be shut up again.
Yeah.
But so the theaters, yes, and we've had lots of theater reviews. David put on his list today just a couple that we've seen, or that we've seen or reviewed. But there's a new organization in town called the Great Barrington Public Theater that has been performing at Simon's Rock at the Daniel Art Center at Simon's Rock College here. And we went Saturday night to see their productions, the East Coast premiere of David Mamet's new play called The Christopher Boys Communion.
It was really good.
And it was really good.
Yeah.
And it was Mamet, it was really good.
Yeah.
And our reviewer gives it also a very good review. And then Barrington Stage, there's another local, there's a local playwright named Jessica Provence, and she's got a play called Boca, which Barrington Stage is doing, and our reviewer Peter Bergman has given that an interesting review. So our arts and entertainment pages are very lively this year after being sort of nothing last summer.
And now it makes you look back and say to yourself how much we really have around here to enjoy in a normal year. You don't appreciate it till it's gone and come back. But I think that I don't think it's going to be shut down again. I think that if people are going to have to wear masks inside, they'll have to wear masks inside. But what I keep urging people, keep going out. If you feel safe with your mask, put it on. But just start to get back into life. Sooner or later, we've got to get back into the habit of supporting our local businesses, our local arts, our local, you name it. And if you have to wear a mask when you go inside, wear it because you're helping your friends and neighbors.
Yes, absolutely.
And don't forget to get vaccinated.
Yes. We publish a magazine, as you know. We publish it 3 times a year, and our August, September, and October issue just came out. It's called Berkshire's Calendar magazine, and it's it is a summary of everything that's going on in the next 3 months. So our August 1st issue just came out the other day, and it is full. We've got a very long section on things to do this summer, or this summer and fall. So, things have come alive again. And I recommend that people pick up this magazine. It's distributed for free at high-traffic locations all over the Berkshires and into Litchfield County and Columbia County. But the amazing thing is that we were able to, find so many things to do. They're also all on our online calendar, berkshirescalendar.com. But it was very exciting to be able to put out a magazine. Last year we didn't print the magazine at all. We had a number of articles online, but this year we're back in print, and the magazine is full, and it's a very good sign.
All right, I want to move on to your Business Monday feature this week, and this is an age-old quandary: how artists try to make a living, especially during a pandemic. And during a pandemic.
Right.
Not only is it usually hard, but it's especially hard.
Right.
Well, there's a wonderful line from one of the people who was interviewed for this article who said, "You come out of art school, you think you're going to be spending full time being an artist, and you discover that you have to pay the bills." And so they, the people who study this, we have, some research and also interviews with a couple of our profiles of a couple of artists, and they're lucky if they spend 20% of their time being artists. The rest of the time they're teaching or they're manufacturing something, or they have to.
Or they're working at something.
They're working at something that pays the bills, so that they can have maybe 20% of their time in their studio. So it's tough. Yeah. We have no subsidies in this country for working artists. We do have federal grants from NIA or the NEH, but they certainly don't pay. They don't pay salaries to artists. They give you grants for specific projects. So this is a very interesting glimpse into how artists live and how they make a living.
Now, your next story that we'll talk about is something that, and I was talking about this just last week with David Terachuk and also with Brian Ross, and that is climate change. We all know that the Earth has climate change. It's over there is slow, gradual climate change that happens with the Earth. But the climate change we're talking about is the climate change that is affected, sped up, or slowed down by human beings. And there can be no dispute now that we are in really a very serious transition period. And you've got a story about a couple of environmentalists talking about climate change.
Yeah, they're going to.
Well, they're going to. Yeah, this is we have really the major writer and environmentalist Bill McKibben, who's going to be speaking in New Marlborough at the meeting house there, and he's on August 14th, actually, my birthday, and he's really someone who's written and campaigned for environmental sanity, and so that's a really good. If you're interested in someone who's really articulate and has been a beacon of enlightenment about the environment for many years, Bill McKibben is it, and he'll be at the on August 14th. He'll be at the New Marlborough Meeting House.
Right, yeah. And we have a link. We have an article, and it's also on our calendar.
Yeah.
But you need tickets because it will sell out. So, McKibben is really, he's a leader. I mean, he was sounding the alarm early and often, and so he's somebody worth hearing.
Well, it's a topic that we right now are not only. It's no longer the beginning stages. We are actually in the throes of it, and
we're further along than any of us wants to be.
Exactly right.
Right.
And those dire predictions that people made fun of years ago are they're no longer making fun of them.
No. Well, some people still are, unfortunately.
Well, I remember years ago, Bill McKibben, I was working at Bennington College, and he came and gave an address there.
This is how many years ago?
20 years ago, 25 years ago.
Right.
And, everyone was, amazed at his predictions and were alarmed. But it's what he was saying then is now coming true. So he has been a prophet of
doom.
Well, of environmental sanity, you might say, for many years.
Well, it's one of those things that, unfortunately, not only are we going to have to deal with it, but the future generations that after us are really the ones.
We're leaving this mess
for them to clean up. Well, I want to go on from the doom and gloom of climate change to, in spite of the pandemic, and I've spoken to our school officials down here, and you've got a story about the Berkshire Hills Regional School District. The superintendent expects the classes to be open this fall, and I know Region 1 is going that way as well. It's going to be interesting to see what happens when it comes to the wearing of masks with a lot of parents.
Yep.
It is, right.
Well, it's going to be more normal, according to our superintendent here, Peter Dillon. But they're still not certain about mask requirements at the moment. But still, that's good news that the schools will feel safe enough and confident enough to at least be planning to open as usual.
Right. even though, there was a pair of students who were enrolled in the summer program at the local elementary school who tested positive last week for COVID-19. And that set in motion the whole process of contact tracing and quarantining for the COVID-positive students, and also the ones who came into contact with them. But Peter Dillon still says that he encourages parents to get vaccinated, but they're expecting to see more positive COVID cases in the schools, but nevertheless, they still feel that it's going to be safe for kids to come, back into school this fall.
Well, it's one of those things that, and I keep preaching it. We have to, with common sense, move forward. And people will say, well, the science was wrong. Science isn't wrong. Science is dealing with something that's new, and it's a virus. It changes, and so the conditions change. So we have to bravely go forward and trust in what we're told and do. I'm not talking about the people who, there are authentic people out there who just don't believe in vaccinations. They don't get any vaccinations. I'm not concerned about those people. I'm concerned about people.
They should be concerned about themselves.
I'm concerned about people who are making decisions on information that is not right. That's what I'm concerned about.
Right.
Yeah.
And in today's social media, look what happened to the gymnast. I mean, all these people came down on her because she didn't want to injure herself or possibly damage the team. This is a gymnast that has set so many records in.
Simone Biles.
Yeah. And so social media completely tries to destroy her, and that's what social media has done with vaccinations.
It's terrible, I know, and they some of the rumors are just ridiculous, like that the vaccine has a chip in it that Bill Gates has put in so he can control your mind.
Guy can't even control.
Really, where do people? How do people?
Well, that was true. You know that.
The guy couldn't even control his wife. Never mind control your mind.
Well, he couldn't control himself.
That's exactly right. Well,
his wife didn't need any control.
That's exactly.
He did.
Yeah, she put a chip in him. Okay.
Yeah, right.
All right, guys.
So I feel badly about that. I mean, there's 27 years of marriage, and and it was a very positive.
They'll remain positive. They'll remain positive forces individually.
I hope so.
Well, we're out of time, but once again, the BerkshireEdge.com is the location to go to. And guys, we'll speak to you next week.
Yep.
Okay.
Take care. Bye.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
That is the Berkshire Edge on air here on Robin Hood Radio.